it related to Kawasco. Of course, you are dealing with the issues of Kawasco, and now you'll give us a brief overview on what is happening in Kawasco, and as a director of the Department of Water, what is it that you know about Kawasco? How is Kawasco related to the county government and the Department of Water, and what is that thing you've done at the current moment of Kawasco? So you're welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Let me repeat my name. I'm Andrew Lasoy, the Acting Director, Water and Sanitation in the Department of Water, Energy, Environment, Forestry and Natural Resources. So I want to let me just go straight to the questions which you've asked me on what I know about Kawasco, and how does it relate to the department of which I am one of their directors. So I know Kawasco. It's a company. It's a water service provider, and it's a creation of Constitution of Kenya, 2010, and particularly Water Act of 2016, which establishes the various institutions which supports the government of Kenya and the county governments in management of various sectors. So as a water service provider, the county government, the establishment of the county government and the start of county government in 2013 found Kawasco in operation, and so as per even the current regulations of WASREB on corporate governance, it is assumed to be a company fully owned by county government of Kericho, because it was developed using resources, the public resources of both the defunct local authority, of the various waterworks development boards of national government, and even several other donors. So Kawasco is a creation of, as I can say, it's a creation of the Constitution, and fully owned by county government. Now, we in my line of duties, or in my line of responsibility, we interact with Kawasco in so many areas. However, the line of reporting of Kawasco ends at the CC in charge of water, and it goes upwards as per the organogram. So in terms of corporate issues, in terms of governance and day-to-day operation of Kawasco, we only come to learn of the ongoings from the public documents, which are normally shared with the public, like the Auditor General report, the WASREB report, and so on, and such other documents. Currently, Kawasco, they are in let me say, the staff on strike. They down the tools, and so the service provision is at risk. And the reason, because I've had an opportunity last week. I hosted a delegation of union officials from the headquarters, from Nairobi, and the local union officials who had paid courtesy call to CEC, and apparently they didn't find the CEC in office nor the CEO in office. So I had an opportunity to listen to what they were saying. And yes, quite a number of times, even before briefly I left the department, we had also interacted with the local union officials, and they had the same complaints which I received that day of issues to do with non-payment of salary. They were talking of harmonization of the salary between the rural and the urban, the Kewasco workers and the Telwasco workers, and so many other myriad of issues which were brought about by the merger. So, and but the most important are the governance issues which they raised, and the inability of the managing director to address to their concern. So some of those issues personally I just record for purposes, and I just do a report to the CEC for purposes of escalating, and maybe give my opinion and say maybe what I know. I also want to mention that in the process of reporting in water sector, we normally report on non-revenue water. And since we report on non-revenue water, we've been having a challenge of trying to bring down the non-revenue water to acceptable level of 25%. But as per the latest report we've seen from WASREP, and from the assessment, is that our non-revenue water oscillates between 45 and 50%, which is totally unacceptable. And therefore, we as a department, yes, sometimes we are at pains to explain why we have this situation. Especially myself, maybe the CC normally can explain in the cabinet, because she's a board member, a director of the board, and maybe she's privy of the strategies, or she's privy of answers to those questions from the various committees.
Thank you, Madam Director. We've heard you mentioning the the issues which are affecting Kewasco at the moment.
Yes.
And one thing you've mentioned is concerning the salary payments and other issues. I want to ask you a question touching on your department.
Yes.
You see, as an employer, and the Department of Water need support from the need a lot of support. Kewasco need a lot of support from you. What have you done for the Kewasco to keep on moving? Because in collaboration, this is a company which is anchored, and it's under your Department of Water.
Yes.
Have you done anything in terms of budgeting in support of the Kewasco, in terms of salaries and what have you? Immediately the merger came on board, it happens that I still remember very well when the merger was promulgated. You are part of the team who did allow the Kewasco to merge, both from the rural and the urban.
Yes.
So what is it that you've done, and the agreement you made during the merger, that you are going to support, or you are going to fund the company, both the rurals, because you've right put in place that the Kewasco is a company which is a non-revenue. They don't make revenue, and there is not profitable organization, not a profitable organization. So meaning it is the department also which ought to have supported the Kewasco for them to have a life, because now it's in its deathbed. So what have you done as a department? And of course, when the union came to your office, you hosted a union. What is it that you've done? What is the advisory you gave to the CEC to take effect or to salvage the situation now in Kewasco? So I think you note it down so that you can have a round of questions from the honorable members. So I want to give additional question from to Honorable Martin. Ask 2 questions so that you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome once again, Director Lasso. I want to, like you've indicated, and as all we know that the staff of Kewasco at the moment are on strike. And as you are aware, these issues have persisted for a long time. The issues of salaries and the rest. You've also said this arose because the MD is not available has not been able to address these challenges. What are the interventions? What has been the interventions that you've tried putting in place to assist Kewasco to assist Kewasco, because we are seeing if we are not careful, when it's not doing well, but we do not want to see it fall completely, because Kewasco provides essential services, that is provision of clean drinking water. What are the interventions that you've done as the department, both over the period that are on strike and even before, because these challenges has been there long before. Then also, what is the state of we are aware that the board is not in place at the moment. What is the status of the new incoming board as we speak, so that these challenges can be addressed, because I know maybe some of these could be addressed fully if the board were in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Director, those are how many questions?
Okay, I've combined those questions into 3: support to Kewasco, the status of the new board, and what we are doing concerning the current strike of striking staff of Kewasco. So
okay.
Basically, I've not the 3. You talked about the union queries. What was my response?
You can proceed answering those questions, yes. The 3 of them.
So let me talk of, let me start by the status of, what is the status of the board. I was nominated to represent CC in the panel appointing the board of directors, and we concluded our interviews, and we've handed over the report to the CC. So what is remaining now is for the CC to call for an AGM. I mean for notification for an AGM, which is supposed to be signed by the MD, and we've been having a challenge with that. The MD has refused to call an AGM, so. But I know CC will weigh in on this matter, because she has been in constant communication with WASREP on the various way forward if the CC is refusing for us to establish a board of directors. I mean, if the managing director is refusing the establishment of a board of directors. So as far as board of directors is concerned, it is a done deal. We are just waiting for the inauguration, and they can start work.
Based on that, how about if this the MD will refuse, because we cannot take that long, Director. If you are done with the interviews and you already have board members, and if we persist, is there any other way you can intervene? Because that one, it should not have taken so long, because bear in mind that the crisis which is there in Kewasco as of now, this one should not be taken as a joke, because we need the board members. The survival of Kewasco should have a board in place. So meaning, if you are done with the interview, why not communicate? If this director, if this MD refuses to call for the meeting, what will happen?
Okay, you know, the MD is refusing to call an AGM, and his reason, okay, his reasoning is that he will need communication from WASREP, from the CEO WASREP, to that effect, that you can proceed. We've looked at the process in which we conducted the exercise of appointment of the directors of the board, and because we had a contention between the company's articles of association and the WASREP regulation 2024, and therefore we opted to go as per the WASREP regulations 2024, which gives a lot of powers to the CEC water, or to the main stakeholder, the county government, to make sure that the board are in place. So, and that is what is in contention. He had some issues to do with what clashes between the articles of association and the memorandum of understanding of the company, and what the WASREP regulations stipulate. So, but we are in, I believe the CEC by now she should be having a letter from WASREP directing us on the way forward once we've completed, because they have approved they have approved the process in which we used to appoint the board of directors. And so if the managing director is still adamant that he will not call an AGM, then we should be having a way out of that situation. And I believe maybe in 3 weeks' time, because as per the Constitution we are supposed to give 21-day notice when we call a board of an annual general meeting. So it's something which I believe CEC will clarify further.
No, you've mentioned 3 weeks. 3 weeks are not. Bear in mind the status of Kewasco.
Yeah, 3 weeks a lot. We debated the issue of the law. There are the issues of the law. It's a matter of the law, and we thought maybe this is something which we and you see, there are only 3 board members. There are only 3 stakeholders: the CC Finance, CC
through the chair,
CC Water, and CS. Yes.
Through the chair. Is it 3 weeks from today, or 3 weeks from when?
From the date of the notice.
When was the date of the notice?
We were supposed to have put the notice. So there've been collision between the MD and the CC.
So you have not done the notice?
We've not done the notice. We were waiting for WASREP to give us.
So which means there is no even issue of 21 days?
No, there is issue of 21 days, and in fact you are...
With 21 days, and yet you have not put on notice, because if there is something that it is already on notice, we are waiting for 21 days.
We're hoping that we will do from the contents of the letter. I believe there is a way, and we will do the notice as early as tomorrow, because we were waiting. Actually, in fact, by the time I came here, we were still waiting for that communication from the CEO, and in fact they had confirmed that they were going to give us the directions.
Okay, as you've heard you've said that who is the owner Kawasco?
It's the county government. It's fully owned by county government.
How can an employee interfere with the program of an employer? What category have you say? You see, if I don't know whether you are aware on when how the contract was awarded to this MD, because if we think it widely, Bana Director, is that if I'm your boss,
yes,
you cannot give me conditions. You cannot give me conditions on how I like to run my company. So meaning you are the bosses of MD, and if you want to decide otherwise, because based on what you understand about the qualification of for the contract to exist, is the based on the performance. And if he is not performing well, why should you have to negotiate about it?
I think there's something which we didn't get right from the beginning when especially even bringing this MD on board, and what followed subsequently. Because if you ask me, we really had a very rogue board. The board didn't have matters as far as management of these facilities concerned, and even at some point didn't even recognize the shareholders. And but as we speak now, we have a court injunction barring us from interfering with the operation of Kewasco as we speak, and until we have a board in place. That is what the court said. So that is why we are really doing our best to make sure that we have a board in place. But at the same time, as much as we are trying our best to put a board in place, the same MD is frustrating our efforts of having the board in place. Because once we have the board in place, then they can deal with the managing director and bring operations to, because as far as the employees are concerned, they don't want to see the MD in office. And you see, and we may not have any other choice but to let him go and have someone else manage the company. So that is the situation, and he knows very well that because even that is what he told the CEC, that how do you want me to convene a meeting to inaugurate a board who will fire me? That's what he said. So it's not a good business. It's not a good situation. We are not in a very good situation as far as the government is concerned. It is not good at all.
So if the challenges are there, what is the right way to follow? Because if it is a court injunction, there is this issue of strikes. We would like to tell us that we disband the entire process, the company.
We disband the process.
The Kewasco.
That could be a last solution, but it has consequences, of course.
So, and you see, if you are seeing the way you want to bring these issues, that the problem is the MD, and the MD also has gone to the board. Is that the solution?
I believe there is a way out. Let's not, I don't want to preempt what might be in the contents of the letter from the regulator, but I believe there is a way out, and eventually we will have the board in place. Okay. Sooner or later.
Continue.
Yes.
Yes.
Just a minute. Director, you know, now we are in a crisis, Director, and this is because of the service delivery to the people, the service delivery.
Yes.
Now, is there a way, because we understand that this MD has some leave days balances, why from the department is it not possible that maybe he can step aside for his leave, because we are aware that he has some leave days? Is it not possible from your side that you push even this MD to go and leave, so that these other things can be sorted? And also, when you consulted with the CEO of WASREP, I tend to believe that you ought to have also seen the urgency of the matter, because things are not good. Workers, staff are on strike.
Yes.
Yes. So see, why it doesn't even move you? If there is a way that he goes on leave, then we try to sort out these issues, because we cannot allow MD to paralyze the operations of a company, Kewasco, that is actually serving us in Kericho for purposes of the services that it provides.
Director, I think that's where we've reached.
Yes, yes.
You're answering the questions.
I've only responded to one.
One. So can you clear up with the one for Honorable Martin? Then you proceed from the question, because I am seeing Honorable Mumbas has a lot of questions on the same.
Let me talk of the support to Kewasco. The department has been supporting Kewasco since 2013, since the beginning of devolution. And the kind of support we've been giving Kewasco, to the best of my knowledge, is one, in terms of paying for the bulk water, as per the agreement which was signed in 2018, the bulk water agreement. And so we've been paying for bulk water. And two, we've been paying for electricity. We've been paying electricity for rural schemes. The Londiani, Kipkelion, Sociot. So we've been paying for those. And then the third one is a subsidy which was recently given to support the payment of salaries for rural for the staff who came from Tilwasco, for rural staff of close to 5 million. So that report is with the CC, and I think after he makes our presentation, we'll give you a report to that effect. But as for the support of Kewasco, let me just inform this house that we've made investments of over 200 million since that time, and I can demonstrate that of all the works which we've done in going to support Kewasco. And notably, the works which I can just mention quickly is like the last mile connectivity, which we've been trying to do, which we've been doing in order to try to increase the customer base for Kewasco. And we've improved several schemes. The Sociot water supply was done back in 2019 when I joined the department. We completed the CFU and the clear water, the clear water tank, and therefore we were able to get acceptable treated water for that facility. But let me say this so that you can make your own judgments. Even after we completed all these projects, the Kewasco didn't take the projects and even endeavor to do an expansion. I can give an example of Kipkelion water supply, for example. We extended Kipkelion water supply all the way to Jambo Kenya. I mean, there was a pipeline from Taita Toed and all the way to Blue Hills. So, but Kewasco did nothing so far as connecting people is concerned. And yet we had water at that time. But since that time, some other things have been overtaken by events, and the scheme so far as we speak is not operational. But despite all the support which we've tried as a department, even one which maybe is close to you of Sigawet water supply. We did Sigawet water supply, improving the rising main of Sigawet water supply, and doing that river, the spring, the small spring which is just at below Sigawet Center. Despite all that, we did the water tank, which is near the offices in Sigawet, and reticulation, distributing that water. Despite all that we did in 2018, 2019, and some three years which followed, they never took up the project. In fact, they removed even their staff who were manning the facility, and therefore even one of the motor in that pump house was vandalized during that time, during that period. So despite what we've done as a government, we've not had support from KEWASCO taking up these projects and increasing their customer base and therefore increasing their revenue. Because it was an attempt, if, for example, giving them money, it was unsustainable, then we thought maybe we could as well try to improve their capacity, increase the customer base, and therefore increase the revenue generated by the company. So that is what we've done since inception to date. You'll get a full report which we've done, and Waziri will present to this committee for your deliberations. Yes.
Are you at a point to furnish this committee with all the payments that you have made in either way, a subsidy or to support the KEWASCO?
Yes. As you respond, Director, let me cut you a little bit. We want to acknowledge the visiting student from Chesingoro Primary School, Chemosot Ward, Bureti Sub-County, and also accompanying with them the head teacher, and their teachers. So we want to wish you well. You are most welcome to this session. This is a fact-finding meeting with KEWASCO, whereby you are given a task by the House to investigate issues pertaining KEWASCO. So this is another committee, and of course you are privileged to have a director of Department of Water, Kericho County. So you are most welcome. Welcome. Thank you very much. Proceed on, Director.
Chairman, in line with that, in line with what Mr. Lasoi is saying, that you did, I heard you say you did this and this and this for KEWASCO. Mm-hmm. Now, the mode of doing is also very important.
Yes.
Because when you take up responsibility of the company, maybe the company might think you are doing it for the Department of Water. Now, are you doing it in collaboration, or you are funding KEWASCO and supervising for them to do? Did you have some agreement between the Department of Water and KEWASCO, so that we can distinguish between the projects that are being done by the county directly and claiming to be KEWASCO, and those that are done by KEWASCO and owning them as KEWASCO? How are you doing or implementing that works that you have said?
No, we do not have any agreement in the manner in which we operate. We do our infrastructural investments. It is our mandate in the Constitution to do infrastructure development, and once we get water to certain standards, the Constitution and even the various regulations allows us to hand over the project for management to KEWASCO. So we don't need prior permission or prior formal engagement with KEWASCO. But let me say this, just to allay your fears. Let me say this before.
Engineer,
yes.
There's something that you're contradicting.
Yes.
You see, Department of Water,
yes,
is funded by the county government directly.
Yes.
And sometimes, like in this budget now, this financial year,
yes,
KEWASCO has not been funded by the Department of Water or by the county government. But now here, you see, I cannot just do a project and then give it to somebody just for the sake, because you have not analyzed whether they are able to manage it. Do they have staff Are they capable of running that? Do they have resources? So it shows some responsibility, because by department doing their works and then lumping it to Kewasco, then you do another one lumping it to Kewasco, there must be an agreement somewhere. There must be a mode of working so that you do the project knowing that the company will be able to operate and run it efficiently and effectively as required. Yes. And again, when you talk about the shareholding, I would like to know maybe if you have the shareholding percentage that is by the department or by county government, how much shares is being held by county government, so that we know whether there is a voice in shareholding, because I know in companies, sometimes when you have more shares, you have more voice. Who has more voice? Is it the department? So that we don't have to say the Department of Water will just try to manage Kewasco by just doing something directly, lumping it to Kewasco. So there must be a way. Did you fund directly? Did you fund some money to Kewasco directly, or you are doing some work independently, then handing over to Kewasco?
So maybe you can respond to those questions, Director, so that you can come back for the next set of questions.
Okay. Here, let me just say that in our day-to-day operations of the department, we are guided by various legal instruments, and the latest legal instrument which outlines the responsibilities of the county government and national government is the Water Act of 2016. And in the Water Act 2016, the responsibility of providing water to the community belongs to the government, the county government. We are vested by that responsibility. Water is a right in the Constitution. And since water is a right by the Constitution, we are mandated as a department to provide that right to the community in whichever way possible. At the same time, in the Constitution, the same Constitution establishes the various institutions. Like what I've said, it establishes the WASREB, Water Service Boards, the WARA, so several other infrastructure development. Because the government of Kenya is not mandated to do business. And Water Service provider sells water to generate revenue. One, for sustainability. And once the company is sustainable, to earn revenue for, or to earn dividend for the shareholders. The shareholders here, in percentage, it is 100% fully owned by county government of Kericho, 100%. And the shareholder donates 3 shares, 1 to CC Finance, 1 to CC Water, and 1 to County Secretary. So it is fully owned, regardless of. Because I know there's an argument which has been advanced here by the MD sometimes back that the county has not paid the domino shares. So yes, as a matter of fact, there is no proof that the domino shares have been paid by anyone, by this shareholder. But despite the fact that the nominal shares has not been paid by this shareholder, the regulation in itself has spelled out the remedy when the shareholders have not paid the nominal shares, and have given rights to the county government to own, to do all that pertains to running this company as shareholders, and in appointing even the board of directors. So we are not incapacitated here as far as the shareholding and the issue of whether we've paid shares, nominal shares, is concerned. So in terms of the manner in which we do our investments. We are trying as much as possible to respond to SDG number 6 of providing water for all by 2030, and in adhering to SDG number 6 of providing water for all by 2030. Some of the things which we do is to improve even the capacity of a water service provider, because the county government is mandated to establish water service provider. It didn't establish Kewasco, but the fact that it found Kewasco means they own Kewasco, but it can establish other water service providers to manage the water services on their behalf. So and that is what the Constitution. The only aspect is that once you've established now, the regulator now will come in and spell out the tariffs in which they need to operate within. So we are not alone. We cannot just say, I've established a water service provider and I decide to sell water in whichever way I want. There is still another regulation from an arm of the national government which regulates now the provision of the service of water as a service. Let me respond to you've asked of evidence, whether we have evidence on all the payments. Yes, this information can be availed by the finance department of every payment which we've made, and I believe we have also financial reports of the government which could give us this information. So if this committee requests for evidence on all the payments, I believe they will be availed to the committee. I think I've answered all those questions, which unless.
Thank you. Let me give this chance to Honorable Noela also to pose some questions.
Okay. Thank you, Bwana Director. I really wish to know from your side the number of the board members that Kewasco usually have. And I also really wish to know too, their contracts, do they end at the same time? Because now the bone of contention is that we don't have the board at a place. So Kewasco cannot operate because there is no employer. In times that the board is not in place, who is the boss to the MD? And if the boss may be the county, is it right that now the county cannot give directives to the employee so that this mess can be sorted out once and for all?
Director, let's have another question so that you can respond together from Mheshimiwa Kemoi.
Thank you, Chair. Director, is there an agreed amount which was signed between the county government and Kewasco on the subsidy?
Yes.
And if there is, for several times we have been having the budget process, we have never received any request from the department concerning the same. What could be the reason?
Okay.
Thank you.
Director, you can respond to those questions so that we still can come back to some set of other questions.
Now, Kewasco, the number of board members, the number of board members of Kewasco at the moment, okay, Kewasco is supposed to be having 9 board members. We believe Kewasco is, is not a small company, because for a small company, the WhatsApp regulations stipulates that we should have 7 board members. For both medium and large companies should have 9 board members. So Kewasco, by the time we found Kewasco, they've been operating with 9 members, 9 board members. Now the term of the board members, I believe, let me not be, I think something which we need to confirm is a 3-year renewable term. I will confirm that. But then, yes, it is advisable to have this board to have the appointment of the board staggered, so that at any time there is no vacuum in terms of the company not having any board members. But that provision has never been made, and even like when we conducted the interview, even from the report which we got from the MD, all the board members, apart from now those who was appointed by county government, have their terms expired. So maybe we're going forward, once we have a new board in place, then a modality will need to be worked out to ensure that we stagger the appointment of board members, so that at no time we have a situation where we don't have a board members. So as we speak now, the board members, the managing director to Kewasco is okay. We have shareholders, though strictly, in strict sense of the Companies Act, the MD, I can say, cannot, you cannot pin down the MD and say the MD should be answerable to the shareholders. The MD is answerable to the board. So in the absence of the board in this situation, because we have 2 members of the board, actually 3 members of the board, one representing the county secretary, one representing the CC Finance, actually the CC Finance himself, and CC Water. So with the 3 board members, whom in my opinion is a minority, may not be a quorum, and given the fact that they are representing the shareholders, I believe the MD, in case of a lacuna, where in a situation where we don't have a board, could operate within those parameters. But as we speak now, the MD is a one-man show as we speak, because even the transactions which have been done after the expiry of the term of the board members will be questionable, because they've not been sanctioned. So personally, that is why the employees decided to lock the office, to lock the MD outside, to lock the office and ensure that the MD is not accessing the office, because they feared that now the resources which could be in the various accounts could be misused by the MD, since he's a one-man show, and since they are friends with the commercial director, who is a signatory. There are only 2 signatories now: the managing director and the commercial director. So, but in this case, yes, I can say we are in a very, very difficult situation, which I don't know. Maybe the legal experts can tell us how to come out of this legal quagmire, especially if we don't get a directive from the regulator or from WASREP. The county cannot give directives to the MD. In fact, there was a time the CC in charge of water directed the MD to proceed on a leave, as a board member, but the MD refused to proceed on a leave. So the MD, as we speak now, does not take directive from even the CC finance, from the board member in a capacity, and from the shareholder, even the governor himself. So it's a very it's not a good situation to per se. It's not a very good situation. It's a lacuna which we really need a lot of interpretations. I wish the courts could have made things easier for us, but they're also operating within the Constitution, and so they cannot prescribe things which are outside the Constitution. I think maybe I've got subsidy agreement. There's a subsidy agreement. The subsidy agreement, the letter which I saw, the last letter which I saw, has put us at the position where we owe Kewasco in excess of 80 million in form of what we were supposed to give out as a salary subsidy for the rural staff, what we were supposed to give out for bulk water, what we were supposed to support them in terms of paying for electricity. And I think there is one other support which is mentioned in the subsidy agreement, which I believe on your request you will be able to get a copy from CC. So you request for a copy of such subsidy agreement, and it will give you that direction to that effect.
Okay, Chairman, Banalasoi,
Yes.
there's something that you said that you are in a quagmire. There is a situation where it is very difficult. That's a concern when I hear such a message from the department, because already from where we sit, Kewasco is not performing very well, and it's on its knees. And now you have said, as you, that you are in a situation, in a difficult situation, as a department now. That is as the owner of the company.
Yes.
Now, currently, for your information, the liabilities of the company are more than the assets. What does it mean? It means even if everything is sold in the company, we will still now go and look for money to pay those people who maybe we owe more money in up to a tune of around 117 million. I think in negative. Recently, the HR told us that the arrears for staff alone is around 185 million. So in that situation, that you have said, to you now it's difficult. Now there's the issue of the board, where you need to have the board so that they can restructure the company. Now, in this situation now, for example, if the company becomes insolvent, because that's where it is heading, if it becomes insolvent,
Yes.
will you take over as the department and run what Kewasco was doing? Will you be able to do that as a department? Will you have the capacity? Now, in this scenario, because we are in a difficult situation in terms of management from the board, and again in terms of the resources, because you see over 185 million in debts for the staff is a lot of money. Will now the county, which is the main shareholder, be able to salvage that?
Director, as you prepare to respond, let me take this opportunity to welcome we have guests at the public gallery. Those are teachers, there is deputy teachers and pupils of Lelagoi Comprehensive School from Sigawet Ward, so in Sigawet Sub-County. Most welcome, This is a committee, another committee looking on a fact-finding mission on matters of Kewasco. And I want to say you're most welcome. I hope you learn something for the time that you'll be here. So we wish you well, and we thank you. Director? Continue.
As a department, I believe we have capacity, and as long as we have political goodwill and support from the county assembly, it will not be difficult to re-engineer the Kewasco. So the kind of situation I'm talking about here is that as long as we have support from you members and we get the prerequisite funding or facilitation to that effect, I believe it's a situation which can be salvaged. When I say we are in a dire situation, it's because sometimes we are not in a position to make some of these decisions, and we don't have jurisdiction to make decisions. But if we had jurisdictions to make decisions, then the situation would not have gotten to what it has at the moment. Subsidy aside, I really believe the situation in Kewasco is exaggerated. Subsidy aside, because Kewasco was as a company was a company operating without subsidy for a very long time, but after the merger now, then there was a need for subsidy, especially to support the rural operations. So if the subsidy alone was supposed to support the rural operations, then what happened to the urban operations, which could not be able to run on their own? Having in mind that Kewasco operates two payrolls, for urban staff, for those staff who came from Kewasco, and for those staff who came from Tiluasco. So there are other issues which personally I can say the board and the management of Kewasco should be able to explain why we are in this situation. Otherwise, it's not something which is difficult. As a department, we have capacity. We can be able to put our act in place and make sure that Kewasco is back to its feet again. It's something which we really need your support as a very important player in the governance or in the management of the affairs of the government.
Yes, thank you. Director, there is something that I wanted to put across to you. There are varied opinions about the merger that happened between the Tiluasco and Kewasco. How do you, from where you sit, how do you see part of the problems that we are experiencing, the challenges that are being faced by Kewasco right now, is as a result of that merger? And maybe as you prepare to respond, let me give some time maybe for the honorable members to pose some questions if there are any. But if there are none, we can respond to that so that we progress.
Yes, I can say some of the challenges which we are currently facing in Kewasco came as a result of the merger. I want to say yes and no. So for yes, our part of the deal which facilitated the merger was not met, and that's why the management will always have an excuse that you've not completely met your part of the deal. For a no, I believe Okay, in some other counties, merger has really succeeded in situations like ours. And the reason why merger can be touted to succeed is because of the economies of scale. You know, if you're operating, if you have an operation which you can do it repeatedly, rather than having two managing directors for urban and rural, you will only be having one managing director, one procurement person who will handle the entire company. So in terms of economies of scale, for the economists I know will say that a merger, most of the companies, they merge so as to make sure that they make their, they reduce their overheads and therefore increase the profit margin. So if you ask me, the merger, we cannot fully blame the merger for the issue. From one perspective, and from the other perspective, I can say yes, we've not met our obligation as a government.
Now, as we prepare to wind up, what is it? I know we are preparing now to put the board in place. What else do you think can be done so that we bring back this Kewasco back to its optimum operation? According to you, what else? Maybe you can tell us, this committee, what you feel can be done seriously to bring back Kewasco to where it was.
Yes. If we put in place strategic investments towards enhancing the capacity of Kewasco, especially because Kewasco basically depends on the customers, depends on the connections. So if we can be able to bring strategies which can increase the connections to Kewasco, then I believe the revenue will improve, and we are, as a government, yes, we come in strongly to streamline the operations of the board. I think there are regulations 2024 which have now reorganized the governance structure, and in the new reorganization, we will have the CC Finance and CC Water being represented in the board, appointing or nominating directors to the board, so that the report they get now from the board can be made to the CCs. You know, if you are the same person who is making a decision, and you are at the same time you are supposed to be the person whom the board is supposed to report to. Because CC Water is supposed to be a shareholder. At the same time, he sits in the board. So it's like you sit in the board, and again you are supposed to answer to yourself. So in a situation where we have a board now who is supposed to answer to the shareholders who are sitting now above the board, we might see some changes in governance. And so we are hoping that once we have this board in place and we operationalize now the new regulations to the latter, then I think we'll see a shift in the manner in which we govern the company or the sector.
Thank you. So I think we are almost coming to the end, to the conclusion of this session. I don't know whether the honorable members, you still have anything more to add. And if there is nothing more, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here. Your contribution will go a long way in assisting this committee in making some recommendations that will bring back Kewasco to where it's supposed to be for purposes of service delivery, good service delivery to the people of Kericho County. So we want to thank you, and before that, let me give you an opportunity to make your remarks.
Thank you, Chair. What I ask this committee is, once you complete your report and you retreat now to your day-to-day duties, let's again relook at the manner in which we fund the department, so that it can be able to support its entities like Kewasco. As much as, yes, we might be willing, or we may be willing to support, we are limited by the resources which are portioned to the department. So something which maybe we really need to go back to drawing board and see how best we can be able to enhance the capacity of the department. One other thing is that we also seek your support, especially when we go outside our way to look for funds from the various organizations or from the various agencies. And the kind of support is when we have legislations, then we expect that you support us to have these legislations in place, approved, so that when we go for funding, it becomes a smooth sailing. We have K-Wash program, which currently we are working on, and it has components which will support Kewasco directly. In fact, in their guidelines, the link indicator number 1 directly supports Kewasco, and it supports also the department, so as to fund the rural projects. So because we have those components, and we've been working with Kewasco even to come up with the various interventions, the various projects which once they are funded can improve our service delivery as a department. So we really beseech you to give us your hand, your support whenever possible. Whenever we have these legislations, you give us your input, and you give us your support by approving these legislations. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share on this matter.
Thank you so much, Director, and your contribution is well captured, and it will be of great assistance to this committee in making decisions on the way forward. Before we let you go, we kindly request that you furnish this committee with a report from the meeting between the directors and staff union, and also any other document that is relevant to this committee for onward procession of the report. Otherwise, we thank you. Thank you for your time. And there being no other business, the meeting is adjourned up until tomorrow, 2nd at 9:30 a.m. Thank you, and God bless.